You've probably wondered before, whenever you've encountered or seen someone on the internet that's capable of speaking a bunch of different languages, like what's their secret? Why are they so good? Are they lying? Or do they just know something that we don't that allows them to learn many, many different languages and be able to perform to a high level? And although a lot of language learning content to do with secrets and stuff is just absolute nonsense, just putting things out there that just aren't true, there is one secret, I think, to making like solid progress in a language that a lot of people simply don't know about. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what, in my opinion, the secret to language learning is. And if you don't actually implement what I'm about to talk about, it often, I find, leads to people being derailed when it comes to language learning. It certainly has led to a lot of people that I know to basically give up on a language because it was too difficult. So let's get straight into it. The ideal situation I've found for anyone really, I think everyone mostly agrees on this, is you want to learn a language, so you do tasks with ROI in the language. By ROI, I mean return on investment. So like flashcards or, practicing a certain grammar rule and taking notes, just things that are going to give you, they're going to make you better at the language effectively. And then as you do these things over time, you learn words, skills, and you improve in the language. And eventually you improve so much that you reach the level you wanted to. I think that is the ideal language learning journey if I was to sum it up. However, there is a problem, which is here. So I call this educational blindness. Effectively, although doing tasks with ROI in the language is the correct way to learn a language, you don't actually know what to do, how to do it, or the order to do things, as well as if it will actually pay off. So a lot of learners, they just jump around doing random things. Like this is probably you. You probably tried learning greetings, colors, numbers. Maybe you did some animals or whatever. And then you kind of just got stuck because you had no idea what you actually needed to do to become proficient in the language you're learning, even though you wanted to. You just didn't know what to actually invest your time into. And so you got frustrated. And then the perceived difficulty of language learning exceeded the perceived value. And that effectively meant you wanted to give up. However, there is a very easy solution to educational blindness, and that is, I think, the secret to language learning. But I want you to understand, as long as this problem exists, it is very, very difficult to make progress because you simply don't know what to invest your time in. So, the secret to language learning, in my opinion, is direction. Once you have direction and you actually know what to invest your time into and you know that this is the correct thing to do, this is the right steps to take, you're not putting a bunch of time into something that's a complete waste of time and it's not actually getting you to the point you want to be in the language you're learning. Once you have direction, you are a much, much stronger learner. You make much faster progress. You're much less frustrated. You're not anxious at all, etc. So what I mean by direction is basically knowing what to invest your time in. For example, instead of, floundering around in the example I gave before, you might know the next step in learning is this vocab group, or it might be subject pronouns, or it could be future tense. It could be any number of things. And if you don't know what those words mean, that's absolutely fine. I have my course linked in the description if you want to check that out. However, once you have direction, which I'll talk about how to get it in a second, all of these things do get solved. So there's basically 4 ways that you can get direction in the language you're learning. In that these 4 things will basically give you a process to follow where you don't have to stress about is what you're doing the right thing, etc. So the first way, and probably the easiest way, the way I'd recommend the most to know that you're on the right path and you constantly have the next thing to focus on, you're not left without a goal in mind, is with an influencer. So it could be a YouTube playlist or anything like that. I should have put a picture in this slide. Damn, I usually use a picture of Lucrezia because I use her channel for Italian. But what you can do is you can look up the language you're learning. So for example, Italian teachers or whatever like that, and you can find popular YouTubers or whatever you want. It could be websites or anything as well you can find popular YouTubers that are native speakers of the language you're learning, and you can go to their channel and they might have playlists and that kind of thing that you can literally follow along, and you can watch each video, you can take notes and you can rewatch the videos, and you can find a bunch of other resources that they probably got linked in each video. And this will allow you to actually go through and follow a very simple, easy process to make progress in the language. So that is one thing I'd recommend. The second thing that you could use to get direction is an app. I'm not a huge fan of apps. I'm not a huge fan of Duolingo, although I do think it gets more hate than it deserves. It is certainly a remarkable app, and it's gotten more than 300 million people into language learning, and it does provide kind of like a direction. Because if you've ever used the app, which probably most of you have, it's like a tree type thing that you go down through each lesson. So that is kind of direction. You can use it if you want as a beginner. I still have it, and I do check it sometimes, but I don't use it to study Russian. I do other things simply because it's not that useful. The third thing that you could use for direction is either a textbook or a website. If you want to buy a textbook, fine. I don't think most people will do that, but I guess you can if you want. You can also use a website. I'd recommend Googling complete guide to the foreign language you're learning and then saving a website that's got a bunch of resources. Again, I should have put a photo in, god damn it. That's got a bunch of resources for various like components of the language, and you can save that in the folder that you have for the language, which you should have by now because I've told you guys to have that before. And the fourth way is with a course or coaching. If you know a native speaker, they can probably help you and give you pointers in which direction to go in to become better at the language, or you could hire a coach online if you want to. You can go on italki and stuff like that. You can also buy a course for language learning if you need something like that, if that makes you feel better, to know for a fact that you are making progress. I do have my course link below if you want to check it out, but you don't have to do that. I think the best way overall is with the influencer way, and if you want to do one of the other things, fine, but I think you should do it as well as number one because that is the best way overall. And yeah, that is basically what you should do. A bonus tip I will give you to stay on track and to make sure you are making solid progress is to write stuff down. A lot of people will learn a language and they just won't ever write anything down. Like they will literally, they'll just, I'm trying to move this bloody thing out of the way. Why won't it move? This is just silly at this point. Sorry, I can't move this out of the way. But a lot of people, when they language learn, they'll just do tasks when they feel it's relevant. And that's great. But a better thing to do is to actually write down specific tasks that you're going to do. So you can have a habit tracker as an example. I'll have that video linked below, my video on habit trackers. I think they're extremely useful for actually making progress. Another thing you should do is use short-term goals. So for each week, you can set a specific goal, like you're going to target animal-related vocab or verb conjugation or anything like that. And this will allow you to stay on track and make progress in the language. You can also journal as well whenever you encounter a problem, like you're finding it difficult to remember words. You can journal about the problem and you'll find a solution comes to you way easier. But that is the video, guys. If you did find it useful, hit the subscribe button because it does make me feel better about all the effort I put in for free. Thank you for watching and have a good one.